Hi, Marlon Price again. This video talks about what to do about training. The recognition program requires a great deal of training in various subjects. And how do you show proof of that, and how much is enough is always a question that comes up. We know that small agencies do not have the opportunity to bring officers in off the street often to do update training. And as a result, it's very difficult for smaller agencies to get all the training in for the recognition program. So there's a couple of ways that we handle that. Obviously, we would like to see everybody trained to a great degree and have lesson plans and sign-in sheets, but in many cases, small agencies simply can't do those kinds of extensive training efforts. So one of the things I'd like to show you is the one method of doing the training. Now, it's not the best method, but it's a method that we do accept, and that is, if you'll go to the screen here, we'll show you that this is a policy that's been issued by a department, let's say, and if the policy has been issued and signed for by the officers, and the policy has detailed information about how to perform the task. If it goes into great detail about how to do this and how to do that, and when you can't do this and when you can't do that, those kinds of that policy, if it has been issued and signed for by the officer, will meet the training requirement for those issues. Now, obviously, courts around the country have indicated that in many cases, simply issuing a policy to an officer is not sufficient amount of training, and we agree. We think you should be doing as much training as your agency will allow. But in some cases, these smaller agencies cannot do that, and you may need to do training inside your policies, very clearly telling officers, for instance, in this case, consent searches. What are the rules? When can you use a consent search? When can a parent consent? Those kinds of things, when it's in detailed format, we will accept training in that manner. Now, on the other hand, if you have a policy such as this one that says, that this agency is committed to providing proper training for a public information officer, other officers who interact with the media will also be provided appropriate training, that's clearly insufficient to prove the training occurred. So in those cases, we will need to see an actual lesson plan, a sign-in sheet where the officer attended, or maybe a certificate from a training program where it gives the number of hours of training for that. That's the same way for a similar circumstance for specified positions like records clerk or communicator or public information officer, where specialized training is necessary. It's preferable to send us the actual training certificates to show that they have been through that training. One other thing that you need to keep in mind is that you do not have to do training on every policy immediately as soon as that policy is issued. Now, if you issue the policy and it's a fairly detailed policy and the officer signed for that policy, and you can make it the date effective at that point. But you may also want to do follow-up training, and that follow-up training may occur maybe monthly, maybe annually in your case. And if you are able to set aside a specific time period of training for your department, then you can cover a multitude of these training requirements in one day. And as an example, let me take you to the program website here, and we'll go down to the download section and go over to training, click on training, and a sample training day outline. If you open that one up and download it right quick, basically this is a one-day training program, just a sample. But let's say you're going to do it at your annual firearms qualification, the whole day. And so in the morning, we want to show that we've covered the use of force and obviously training in the use of force policy, which is required annually by our standard, and also training on the firearms that you use. And maybe these are the things that you're going to cover. Well, you would come in and put your policy number in here, and the instructor's name up here, and the date that you have this training, and maybe then part of the morning is done non-lethal weapons, and then hands-on requirements. We do require hands-on training for officers in any number of things. You can do come-alongs, pain compliance techniques, takedowns, handcuffing techniques, all of those things, self-defense tactics. All of those things can be covered very quickly in a classroom or a firearms range setting. Then you actually do your firearms training. You do your annual qualification required. If there's non-lethal qualification necessary, you can do the TASER qualifications or the ASP baton or whatever qualifications you need to do then. Then you do your weapons cleaning. You actually have your rangemaster inspect the weapons, which is also required by our standard 303. Maybe take a break for lunch. Then you start in with an afternoon of training that covers all of these things. If you download this, it can give you an idea how you can manage a great deal of training in one day. If this was the sample training day, we've figured out that this actual training day and the sign-in, this outline and the sign-in sheet for officers could actually show proof of training in almost 65 different standard areas. So it would be very beneficial for you. It's also not necessary to submit your proofs of compliance as soon as you issue your policy and have officers sign for it. If you want to wait on the training and then do the submission after you've completed both the policy sign-off and the training sign-off, that's a very effective way of doing that. So that covers the training issue. If you have any questions about that, please give us a call. Thanks.